Welcome everybody. Getting started, jumping right into it. Hopefully headphones put away. We are talking about finding angle measures using TRIG. We did almost this exact question yesterday, except for we had the angle always given to us. It would say the angle is 31 or the angle is 45. And we would have the X, the missing piece, as one of our sides. But today we can see that we have side and side both given, but we have the missing angle. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to figure out where this X is in the angle, and this is not necessarily a requirement by law, but I like to draw the little guy in the corner. I like to label my O's, my A's, my H's, and so this 15 is, again, same as yesterday, all the way opposite my little guy. The H is going to be on the 24 side, the longest side of our right triangle, which is opposite the right angle. And then our A over here, the A is the not important side, right? We have no information on the A. We don't want information on the A. We could find it using Pythagorean theorem, but we don't care, right? Our goal is to find the angle X. So we're going to use all of the stuff we talked about yesterday. We're not going to really add anything new, and that includes talking about SOHCAHTOA. Hopefully, you're getting your O's and your A's and your H's all correct. And with SOHCAHTOA, you can choose which trig kind of value, which trig ratio, which trig identity that you want. Okay? So, I'm looking at, we need the one that works with O and H. Which one of these three works with O and H, but not A? Of course, it's the SO portion, which is the sine trig piece. And just like yesterday, it comes with 3 pieces here, right? There's going to need to be a number after the sin, which is really sine, just abbreviated. There needs to be a number on top. There needs to be a number on bottom. Now, today, that missing value, instead of being the top of the fraction or the bottom of the fraction, that missing value is going to be in the angle position, right after the sign. So we're just going to put our X right there. Which number goes on top? 15. Which number goes on bottom? 24. And you just type it in Desmos. So 100% stuff that we already talked about, 100% all skills that we used yesterday. I'm going to Desmos. I'm typing it in. SINX equals fraction 15 over 24. No spaces, no nothing. So we're given a couple things here on Desmos. First of all, we're given many lines, which is unusual. Okay? The way that the sine graph looks, sine is a graph that looks like this, and so it's very repetitive. It happens over and over and over again forever. And so what we're seeing, sine x equals 15 over 24, is all the places where this red graph gets just exactly to 15 over 24, right? If I do this, y equals 15 over 24. Now, this is thinking way too hard about it, okay? The bottom line is you got a whole lot of answers, okay? Which one are you going to choose? So, which one are we going to choose? Which one are we going to work with? First issue. We talked yesterday about this. There's 2 different like Fahrenheit and Celsius. There's 2 different ways we can talk about angles. Hit the wrench. One of them is radians, one of them is degrees. And right now we're in radian mode. And that means whatever answer is given to us is not the answer we want. Okay? We want to switch into degrees for sure. So I'm going to click this button, degrees. My answers are going to disappear a little bit. Okay? They didn't actually disappear. I just need to zoom out. And then we're going to see pretty much the same picture if I zoom out really far. And so now now we have a whole bunch of stuff, and these lines represent the angles of a triangle. So we have a whole bunch of lines. Are we going to use negative numbers for a negative angle? No. All right, so we're not going to choose any of these lines in the negative side because we don't need those, okay? Then we're going to have a bunch of positive lines. Think about it like this. We are in a right triangle, and we know for a fact that all the angles of a right triangle add up to make 180. And we also know for a fact that the biggest angle in a right triangle is the 90-degree angle. So, is there any way that we could have a 140-degree angle inside of a right triangle that already has a 90-degree angle? No way, okay? So, basically, bottom line, there's only going to be one choice that is smaller than 100. Really, it's smaller than 90, but if you just want to think 100's an easier number to remember, you just got to pick the smallest positive number. The smallest positive number is right here. Unfortunately, we kind of run into this issue, okay? We have another thing where Desmos is not really working for us. Desmos is not allowing us to select this dot. It's not allowing us to just pick exactly what it is. It definitely looks like it's almost 40. Maybe it's 38, maybe it's 39, but we can't just guess. So, how are we going to figure out exactly where this is? We are going to need to use, if you look on the notes, you can use the inverse of the ratio to find the measure of the angle. All right, gets a little bit tricky here, but what we need to do is basically, you know how when you learn to multiply, then you learn the opposite of multiply is to divide, right? And then you learn how to square something, and the opposite of squaring is to square root. And so in math, whenever you learn how to do something, right after that, you learn how to do the opposite, to undo it. And so what we're going to try to do is get this sign away from the x, right? How do we move this piece to the other side? You can't divide by sin, right? That doesn't make any sense. You have to basically do the opposite of it. And so, where that comes in, we've got this Desmos button down here. We've got the functions button. And you can see right at the top here, we have trig and we have inverse trig. Okay? And we're going to use these inverse trigs. So, we're going to go with inverse sine, and then we're going to type 15 over 24. That number, 38, is exactly what we were guessing that it was going to be. We were guessing it was almost 40. If you were using a calculator, you'd have to use the inverse sine. When I learned it, when Ms. Bass learned it for the first time, we had to use a calculator. We had to do like second sine. I don't even know if you guys even know what that even means, but now that we're on Desmos, we got to go keyboard, functions, inverse trig, and go from there. All we do is type the fraction in, and it gives us the answer. Don't let yourself kind of be scared of a one button click kind of question. So let's do this one. Let's move on. 38.6, round it up, 38.7. X equals 38.7. I guess we can put a little degree mark on there because it is an angle. And let's just move on. Let's do one more. Let's see that this is not really all that crazy. I'm missing the angle. That's what I thought I was going to be missing. Let's label our sides with the OAH. The 11. What do you think the 11 is? Here's our little guy. And opposite of that The 11 is going to be our hypotenuse. What about the 8? That's our adjacent, right next door. And all the way opposite is a side I don't really care about, to be honest. So we're working with the 8 and the 11, the A and the H. Which sine, cosine, tangent are we working with? Cosine. So we've got the cosine equals fraction. The angle, today, everyone we're missing is the angle. It's an x. Which one goes on top of the fraction? 8, and the bottom is 11. You go to Desmos, you type it in, you're done. Desmos. Cosine of x equals 8 over 11. And there it is. It looks like it's a little bit more than 40 this time. Maybe it's 44, maybe it's 43. But same deal, it's not telling us exactly where it is. And it's not a long process. Keyboard, functions, inverse. And this time, of course, we're going to choose the one that says cosine. Then you just type the fraction, 8 over 11. And exactly what we thought, 43, a little bit more than 40, 43.3. X equals 43.3. And that is an angle, so maybe we put a little degree symbol on there. And when we've done 2 questions, we might as well have done all of them because it's the same exact process. Figure out what sides you're working with, figure out which sine, cosine, tangent you need, go to Desmos, question's over. I'm going to do number 2, and I'm going to speed it up, right? Here's our x, here's where our, number 3, oh my gosh, here's where our person is. This 20 is all the way opposite my person. This 37 is right adjacent to me, and of course opposite the 90 is our hypotenuse, which we don't really need. Which one of these works with the O and the A? TOA, tangent. So I'm going to use the tangent of x is equal to fraction the OA, 20, 37. All right? Going to Desmos and typing that in. Tan x equals 20 divided by 37. Of course, the tan stands for tangent. Don't actually say tan. It's kind of cringe. And there's our answer. It's between 20 and 40. Looks pretty close to 30. Looks like it might be 28, 28 and a half. Really simple. Keyboard. Functions. Inverse tangent. 20 over 37. Just like we thought. 28 and a half. It's 28.4. Sweet. X equals 28.4 degrees. Alright, we did one that was sine, one that was cosine, one that was tangent. There's nothing else that I can throw at you. You always choose the positive one. As you can tell, Desmos is going to tell you exactly the one you want. So even though there's many pictures, you know, here's another one that works, but we don't want that one. We want this one. Desmos always tells you the correct one. Keyboard, functions, inverse trig. All right, I'm going to give you guys, I don't know, maybe 2 minutes or maybe 1 minute. Try number 4 out on your own. I'm going to pause. I'm going to let you guys kind of work on it. If you're going to use Desmos for the first time today, wrench, degrees, right? Make sure you select that degree mode. All right, let's get a little 90-second timer. Sweet, 90-second timer. See if you can try number 4, right? There's not much to it. Label your OAH. Make a little fraction. You got degree mode? Once you got it. You got it? Right? You got to hit that keyboard. You got to go to functions. It looks pretty good. Yep, I think it looks pretty good. Seen a lot of good answers so far. Yep, no problem, no stress. Easy peasy. Alright, so for this one, if we're standing here, that is our adjacent side, because that's right next door to us. You know what I'm saying? Opposite reach all the way across here. So since it's an A, you can't use SOH. You gotta switch it to CAH.
Oh, what the heck?
All right, where are you standing?
Right here.
Nope.
Wait, no, not there. What is it? Next.
Okay, so now just label your O's, your A's, and your H's. Right. What's up? Yep, easy fix. Wrench. Degree. This is what you're looking for. Because this graph is going to show it to you, but you can't click on it, so you just go there. All right, that's our timer up. I saw tons of good work. I'm proud of us. Nice job. Doing the question quickly here. I got my person in this corner. All the way opposite me is over there. Adjacent with my hypotenuse. I don't need the opposite. I need to work with adjacent and hypotenuse. So I'm choosing to work with the cosine, the c, as you guys like to say. So we've got the cosine x equals adjacent 18 over hypotenuse 23. It's as easy as go to Desmos and type it in. Cosine x equals 18 over 23. And it looks nice, but I can't click it. So I need to go instead and do the inverse trig. Keyboard functions inverse. 18 over 23. 34 and a half. 34.49999 might as well be. Wait, what was it? 38. My bad. 38 and a half. 38 and a half degrees. We could sit here and do 2 more questions, but honestly, I don't even think it's worth our time.